Welcome back to Football Manager 2024 American Invasion as I'm taking St. Louis City and the rest of the MLS teams into the English Footballing Pyramid. This episode we're going to be going over January and February. We have lots of league matches, a couple of cup matches, and we start the season, the new year of 2026, off in first place. We have a couple starlets I want to show. We have 17-year-old Craig Hardy at back and left back. He's getting more and more playing time. He's really become our starter, and he's going to continue to do so most likely. Lots of potential there. Another one I'm excited about, Liam Mendez, 17 years old, finally starting to get some goals this season, and he is emerging. So he's coming off the bench quite a bit, getting some starts here and there. We also have, let's find him, Ryan Boone. He's another young midfielder who has some potential. Will he carry on beyond League One? I don't know, but we're trying to get him more and more playing time to see if he can emerge. I like the determination. His physical assets are pretty good. And then Kyle Thomas, another young striker, 19, not as promising as Mendez, but if we can get him playing time, he's not got any starts in the league, but he is getting quite a few substitutions. So our first match saw us go to Luton for the third round of the FA Cup, and this was a big test for us as they are in the championship, and so this can see where we stack up against a team 2 divisions higher. So Kellerman and Klaus were leading the line. First half, not much happened. Then in the second half, Luton starting off the scoring. Beautiful goal from range. Didn't look great for us. But then Kellyman continuing where he was in December, moving on, getting us tied up. Not too long after that, in the 76th minute, what a goal by Elijah Adebayo, though. And that sees us go down 2-1. Time's ticking, 8 minutes left, 95. Oh, but then Kellyman gets it in there, and Longstaff, Matty Longstaff, our guy, with his 5th goal of the season, getting us in the 96th minute out of 98, tying it up, sending it to a replay. It was a fairly even match, hoping then on the return leg, which was our next one, bringing them back to our place, City Park, seeing if we can get through, sitting out pretty much the same team. They're in poor form under Eddie Howe. Newcastle, by the way, is going to win the League Cup in this season. So we have some new ones. Kellyman continuing, sending it over to Alm, who plays it back in. We thought we were going to score right early. It did not happen, so it ended up with a corner. Then Kellyman again, making things happen again to Alm, this time to Kozier Dewberry, who picks up the goal, sends us forward. Now, they come marching back, but we stop them, and then on a beautiful counterattack in the 35th minute, Dewberry out wide, sends it back in, and there we go, Omari Kellyman in what will be one of his last goals for the team as he's going to get recalled by Aston Villa. And then Kellyman again, finishing it off 3-0, saying so long before he gets recalled, unfortunately. And then that leads us to the 4th round of the FA Cup where we go take on mighty Arsenal. And this is where we really get to see where we're at as they are sitting first place in the Premier League when we go up against them. And it's okay for the first 42 minutes until our young guy, Hardy, decides to bring down Luis Guilherme and receive the red card. And it's just bad from then on because not 5 minutes later, Guilherme strikes, gets a goal. 52nd minute, boom, another goal. Oh, look, 56 minutes and another goal for Arsenal. Things were not looking good, and then again in the 83rd minute, they pile on to make it 4-0 and show we are far out of our depth against the top of the Premier League. Then we moved on to Newport with the quarterfinals of the Bristol Motors Trophy. This is one that we still have a shot to win. We're not ready to compete for the FA Cup, I know that, or the League Cup, but this is more our level. And Kozier Dewberry getting us going with a beautiful cutback. He is finding his groove in January out on the wing. Then where we do best from a corner, we don't score, but then it comes back to best, who then sends it back in, and Liam Cullen. We scored off a corner eventually. In the second half, we see Cullen again taking it out wide, sending a beautiful one to our guy, Aziel Jackson, who just always seems to be in the right place at the right time when we need him. And then at the very end, in the 95th minute of the 4th extra time, Cullen slots it home to add insult to injury as we dominated the match and move on. That took us against 3rd place AFC Wimbledon. And this is one that we're on the road against another top team in the division to see if we are ready to go for moving on up into League One. Cullen again leading the line for us, but Kosher Dewberry again finding the groove, whether it be assists or goals, making it happen. Here he is picking it up again and slots home his second of the match in the first 20 minutes. Then we get Jackson, right man at the right time, finding Klaus, 32nd goal of the season. He has been a monster, but he won't re-sign for us. They do get one back in the 25th minute. 4 goals already, but then it's a dry spell until 61 minutes in. Klaus finds the net again. Then, not to be outdone, Cullen with a beautiful free kick, sending it into the top corner of the net. 17th goal of the season, 25 yards out. A dominating performance against the third-place team in the league. Looking good for us. And then we see Kosher Dewberry emerging as that goes. Now, transfer history, I did tell you, we brought in one young guy here, 18-year-old from the academy. He has some potential. I think he could turn into something good. His fitness worries me, but other than that, we did sign Ostrick and Fredericks, or we sold and let go some guys on free transfer. Their contracts were up. They weren't finding any playing time. Fredericks is one that we got some money for. He was replaced anyways. Ashby's been playing. Ware was not playing at all. We have Boone there. Totland is a guy who we didn't get playing this season, but we cashed in for almost $2 million. And then Noon, just somebody. There you go. So to start off February, that sees us going against Cheltenham, bringing them to City Park. Now, Mendez got the start on this one for Cullen. Cullen's getting kind of worn out, so Mendez needing more playing time. Felt this is a good time to start getting him a shot. Oh, I'm sorry, Cullen was also in this one. But we do get Kosher Dewberry continuing to emerge. Beautifully done. But then one of the goals of the season right there, Liam Smith. Second half, 83rd minute, tied 1-1. Kyle Thomas, our other young striker, getting in as a substitute, making it happen before Matty Longstaff, sending home the third to see out the victory, 3-1, in what was a pretty tight affair. We did dominate for the most part. Later on, we played Doncaster in 12th, welcoming them to our stadium. We did have a loss and a draw in between the Cheltenham game and this one, so we were hoping to get back on the track with this match. It's showing us, what I'm finding is we need to start planning for the future because, as you can see, 10 minutes in, things aren't going well for getting back on track. And then off another set piece, they score again 2 minutes later to go up 2-0. Took us a while, but in the 35th minute, Liam Cullen sending it in from, who else? Kosher Dewberry with a beautiful ball. Then Cullen from Ashby. What a ball and what a finish for his 20th goal of the season to tie it up before halftime. And not only that, then we get our man Dewberry again, making it almost happen, but on a beautifully tight angle on the rebound, sending us into halftime 3-2 up. Then they claw back with the 83rd minute at 3-3, and that one was where it was looking tight. But then where do we get our young guy, Kyle Thomas, coming on, getting a second goal again off the bench when we need him before Cullen. Penalties were flowing in these couple months for us, and we were having some luck. So we dominated the match, but early on we couldn't stop a thing. And then that brought us into the end of the month. You can see February, we did lose to Newport. Then we were able to beat Exeter. Liam Mendez is getting the starts now. I'm wanting to start our young guys to prepare them for the next season because we did lock up a playoff spot, and things are looking good. Not quite the same success we were having, but then we get Leyton Orient 20th, looking to get back on track to end out the month. Except we've got Mendez who's getting some playing time. Ryan Boone's getting more playing time. Craig Hardy's already getting a bunch of playing time, but we're bringing in Sanchez in defense to get more playing time as well. Klaus has actually committed to sign, I think, with Augsburg, so he's not getting any more playing time for us unless we need him in big matches, maybe in the cup matches. Rest of the time, Mendez, Thomas, and Cullen, who will be here next season, they're going to be getting the development that they need to succeed. Sanchez is the young defender that I want to give a shot as well. Dorrington being on loan, we can sacrifice his playing time. They can't recall him right now anyway, so joke's on them. And this is the younger squad that we're sending out there with Boone and Mendez and Thomas. Kean Best is a 20-year-old as well. Him and Hardy can rotate. Ashby's a young guy up there for the most part. and then Sanchez. So this is what we have. This is what we're trying to develop for next season. But what I'm noticing from January and February, we need some investment if we want to take this team forward and move on up through League One for sure. Right now, I think it's a doubt if we're automatic for promotion like we were going into this season. We'll see. Now, this one starts off already a minute and a half in. Kozer Dewberry continuing up the line, finding Mendez, who crosses it in to Rasmus Alm. This is going to be a big game for him. But will it be big enough is the question, because our defense has been leaky in this month. So Alm sends us up the lead, but then in 6.5 minutes, 5 minutes later, they tie it up. And that's kind of the story. Davis then sends one from way out, which they somehow unmarked. Remy Cabral scores that one to go up 2-1 in the first 14 minutes. Nothing else happens for the next 40, but boy, fireworks happen in the last 40, or last 30, I should say. As in, they go up 3-1. Yes. Then 5 minutes later, Mendez finds the post, and he was offside anyways, but then he gets the ball back a few minutes later. Mendez sends it over to Ashby. Ashby crosses it in and finds Rasmus Alm. Beautifully done, hurrying the ball back. We have 20 minutes left. Then we get a great build-up. Sanchez to Ashby, to Jackson, to Longstaff, to Durkin, to Cullen, to Alm. Look at the movement. Back to Cullen, who slots it home beautifully. That was great ball play, and I'm hoping we can continue to do the same as we go. So then Alm, the man of the match, as you see, we've tied it up already, sends a beautiful ball to Jackson, who finds Mendez, who sends it home, and this time he is offside again. But he found the net at least. Durkin then finds Jackson, who then tries again in the 85th minute, finds Mendez, but then it goes over to Alm, and Alm sends it home for his hat trick, the hat trick hero. Then 4-3, we have yet another shot in the 88th minute. Building up from the back, we're passing the ball, moving it beautifully back and forth. Mendez this time sends it in, and you know what? He was onside. Goal. Not to be outdone, we then in the 95th minute have Longstaff sending it in again, his third goal of the month, I believe. A couple of those were penalties, but he's emerging for us, which is great. So look at that domination, 6-3, but man, they had 7 shots and we allowed 3 goals. Not good. So finishing up, February and January were much rougher on us. We had 3 defeats, and none of them were to U.S. teams. One of them was to Arsenal, so we don't need to count that one. But it's a far cry from our unbeaten run that we had. So we have 2 months left, March and April. One of these, we have the semifinal for the Bristol Motors Trophy, but you can see us and LAFC have already clinched playoff spots. We are on the verge of clinching promotion. Things are looking good for us. Jackson and Alm and Ashby leading on assists thanks to our beautiful corner system. Klaus is not going to get any more playing time for the most part, but he's probably still going to end up leading the league in goals scored. Now let's check up on the other ones. Starting with the National League, again, the U.S. teams are all leading. New England and Atlanta are fighting out for the championship to automatic promotion. Rochdale is going to try to play spoiler, it looks like. Possibly Crew. Don't know. But it should be 2 teams. Now in the North, we know Columbus, yep, they've all but clinched the promotion. 2 draws and a loss, 101 points. They will be playing in the National League next season, so we know at least 1 U.S. team. And we know from the other league, as we go to the South, we will have another 2 U.S. teams. But the question is, which 2? Because everybody's close except for the 4 British teams. 3 of them already are relegated. 1's on the verge. It's going to be tight. Inter Miami's holding on to the league, followed by LA Galaxy. So we're going to see how it goes and where the season's going to take us. So like I said, we will come back with finishing out the league on the next video, seeing how we do in this trophy run to see if we can add to the trophy case and see if we can hold off LAFC when it comes to the championship of League Two.